My topic for today is going to be, will I get enough proteins? And that is what concerns us when we speak about a plant-based diet. Just one disclaimer that all the dietary advice which has been discussed in this presentation should be discussed with your doctor or a registered dietitian before being implemented. The presentation doesn't substitute for medical advice from a professional. Now, when we look at the largest mammals or animals on the planet, almost all are herbivores, and we have this protein anxiety, which I think so in our Indian community we have borrowed it from the Western counterparts, and that's like about the protein anxiety. Am I getting enough proteins? And let me ask you, have you seen anybody with a protein deficiency? And we are about proteins. There's so many of the protein powders, bars which are available nowadays. And the popular myth is that we need a special source of protein, whether it is through meat and poultry, or dairy, or taking protein supplements. So let's look at the recommended daily allowance. And when I myself, when I was shifting from a vegetarian diet to a whole food plant-based diet, I realized the protein RDA is very low. It's zero point 0.8 grams per kg. That's something like zero point 0.4 grams per pound. So for an average individual who's 60 kgs, it would be roughly about 45 to 46 kgs. And in that 60 kgs, if you remove the fat percentage, an ideal body weight would be around 15 to 20%. The and people who have greater lean body mass or who are athletes, the requirement may increase. Now, let me ask you, have you seen a protein deficient person? And the answer is no. But we have always come across obesity, whether it is in a family, friends, or in social life. So let's look at the plant sources of proteins, and a huge amount of them, which has been covered a bit by Dr. Gupta and also by Mrs. Madhura. So let's just assume you are having at an average 2000 calories of plant-based diet, and you just eat broccoli the whole day. You will end up having 146 grams of protein in a day. That's huge, because your average requirement is less than 50 grams. You're having it thrice the amount of that. Or let's say you have only lentils throughout the day, you will nearly touch 160 grams. I wouldn't recommend that you do that, nor you to do that, but that's the amount. And just imagine you just having potato. Potato, we consider that doesn't have much nutrients. It's just carb. It's not good for the body. And if you just have potatoes, skinless, it's going to give you 42 grams of protein. That's actually quite near to the amount you require every day. So plants have high amount of proteins, and they are at the right proportion with carbohydrates and fats. Now, another question which comes about soy. Now, soy has a very high amount of protein per 100 grams. That's nearly around 40 grams. And it's a very good source of proteins. But we are always worried that it has estrogens. Well, the topic of soy will be covered by the other speakers. But 2014 meta-analysis, which covered 35 studies, showed that higher soy intake had 41% decreased risk of breast cancer for pre and post-menopausal women. And another meta-analysis of 8 studies, especially the Asians, showed a 29% decreased risk of breast cancer. So in fact, soy decreases breast cancer. And being on plant-based diet, you not necessarily need to eat soya to complete your protein requirement. So if you don't like it, or even if you're worried, there are huge amount of other options which can be taken into your diet to cover your protein requirement. Now, another question which comes, how we are going to get our essential amino acids? They are the indispensable ones, and these are the 9 ones. But mind you, they are present in the plant sources, and some plant foods such as canola, chia seeds, hemp seeds have all essential amino acids. Excuse me. A simple combination of dal and rice can provide all the essential amino acids. So the question comes, Do we need to combine different plant foods to get all the amino acids? The answer is thankfully, our body is a master recycler. And these amino acids, they get into change to form proteins. And the body is constantly recycling them. So many of them are flowing through our blood. The body is smart enough to conserve the one which are taken in less, and basically utilize or degrade the others which are in excess. So if you're also not combining different plant foods, you're going to get your essential amino acids. Another thing which is always a concern is that okay, I've turned vegan for a lot of causes, especially the environmental and the animal cruelty part. But will I need to take protein supplements? The answer is that if you're taking enough calories, like on the slide which I've shown before, then you're getting enough proteins. Even on if you're, for example, if somebody takes only potatoes, he will end up getting 42 grams of proteins in a 2000 calorie diet. Now, what if I'm a sports person? Now, sports person, they require more oxygen because they have to do a lot of running around, heavy exercises. But do they carry oxygen cylinders with them? No, they are breathing that oxygen from the 21% which is available in the atmosphere. They do not require that excess oxygen. So the same thing with protein, it comes as a package when you're having a whole food, and it comes in the right balance. So probably their nutrition requirement is more for all the other nutrients, and that's why they need to take whole foods rather than focus only on proteins. And adverse effects of animal protein has already been covered. I wouldn't waste time on that. But there are certain adverse effects of excess protein, such as disorders of bone and calcium homeostasis. It can have damaging effects with respect to the renal function, increased cancer risk, and disorders of liver function. There are many more of that sort. So we should consider food as a whole rather than splitting up into vitamins, minerals, or macronutrients like fat, protein, or carbohydrates. The best thing about whole food plant-based diet is you get everything. If you're having enough grains, nuts and oil seeds, legumes, whole grains, you're always going to make your recommended daily allowance of all the vitamins and minerals. So take food as a whole. Do not wake up, and do not, bang your head against the wall that whether I get this nutrient or this macronutrient. Acknowledgements, I would like to thank Anvike, especially Vignesh for taking the lead and doing a wonderful job. Dr. Kota for motivating me to start a food plant-based diet. A lot of my presentation is based on the talks of Dr. Michael Greger, Neil Bernard. In fact, some of the slides in the presentation have been taken from this presentation. I also like the approach of Dr. Foreman, and I've learned a lot by the videos which were available on Gianna Simone's YouTube channel. Thanks.